we gotta be really professional, right?
Mm.
Oh, for God's sake. Right, okay. Before we start, I got a few announcements to make, right? And for once, right, if you interrupt, I'm not going to know what the hell I'm doing, right? So we're doing carved heads today, right? Um,
Mm.
it's Peter's funeral tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And if my car holds out, I will be there, right? Because I've got a warning light on my dashboard at this minute, but that's something else, right? And me and Richard were having a conversation before all this went to bits, right? About about the fact that I've got a Ford Focus and how much should I sell my Ford Focus because the engine's still operational and the tires are still on it. Um, how much would somebody pay for it to be used for drag racing? That's one thing we discussed, which is nothing to do with archaeology at all. The other thing as well is before I mentioned the other things that we mentioned yesterday, before I did the carved heads, and I asked people if they got any news this week, right? Is that I sent a message to Anne, right? Should we just start the classes um at 7:15 and then finish them at 9, right? And on the back of that, I said if we start a little bit earlier, um, should I discuss about what we're excavating in West Wales, right? Or should we just drop the thing starting at 6:45 altogether? But if we did that, Anne, then the money you're paying, we would send a little report to you about what we're doing here, which I'm doing with the two other people who are subscribed to what we're doing in West Wales, and that's up to you, Anne. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's fine.
Yeah. Which part of that's fine is fine.
I don't mind starting at 7:15 and finishing at 9
Right.
and having a transcript sent. What? Transcript of what?
No, no.
I don't know.
I'd we'd send you Rona would send you a little paper newsletter about what we're doing here, which yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's all right.
if that's what you want to do, and then we'll start at 7:15 instead.
That's all right for me. Richard.
Yeah, well, I got to be honest with you. In Richard's defence, right? Richard has been waiting for a whole hour
Oh,
whilst.
I know. He's always there. He's always there. You see, he's the face of Virgin. He's the face of Barry Museum Trust.
He's lost the bloody thing. He's lost all reality at this moment, right? Right.
Yeah,
So
might
right.
be all right.
So
At quarter past.
yeah.
As long as it's on time and everything.
Yeah, well, you were on time. That's the point. We've
Yeah.
had to. It's what time is it now? It's 7 minutes to bloody 8.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to get to grips with is the fact that over the next 2 weeks, we will be sending you a we'll oh, so there's something weird going on here. So we will send you a over next week, which will be Tuesday, because Christmas Day is Wednesday. On the Tuesday, there will be a class which will already be pre-recorded that I'll send you to your email next week. And then the following week, I'll send you another class that will be pre-recorded that I'll send you as well.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
So look out on Tuesday next week and look out on Tuesday before New Year's Day. And then hopefully that'll all make sense.
An email, will it be, or a text?
What I might do is actually, some people want it via text. Ruth wants it via text, so I might just email it to you. I don't know,
All right.
but you'll get it by crook or by hook, as Oliver Cromwell once said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you knew him well, didn't you, Anne? Yeah, Anne, you didn't have the hots for Oliver Cromwell as well, did you?
Oh no, no. It
Oh,
was
well,
sad. It was sad,
I
wasn't
might
it?
just email it to you. Well, what that you didn't have the hots for Oliver Cromwell? Right, okay. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh God, I am really struggling at this minute. Right.
They're all having the hots for his son, or his not his son, God, he's a guardian to the one of them, wasn't he?
No, that's Winston Churchill, you silly woman. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. The other thing as well is, right, I'm gonna say it, don't forget to put the monies over sooner. Well, obviously the money's for January and February, right? Yeah.
January, February, £85.
Yeah, you could pay £85 if you want.
50,
How
isn't it?
much? Um,
No, and right, and right. Yeah, it's 50 for the classes, right? But you can pay 80, and it's £30 if you want to do the dig thing.
yeah.
Hmm.
But the last time I added up 50 and 30, it did not come to 85. You can pay 85 if you want. You can pay 100. You can pay 285 if you want. I'm fine. You could add another note on it. I don't mind.
That's quite all right. I haven't got that much.
Right. Okay. So Pat don't know what she's doing now. So Pat is 50 quid. Richard is 50 quid. That's fine. Right.
Great, great. Will do.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good. Right. On that note. Right. On that note. Oh, please, guys, just keep it simple. Right. My head's. Yeah. Any news from you, Pat?
I'm just getting ready for Christmas, and I'll be at my son's on the Christmas, and they'll all be here. So 7 first day and 11 the next day. Oh, it'll be a nice big group. 7 one day,
Oh.
11 the next
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
my house.
Yeah. In your house. That's good. I'm loving it. Yeah.
Got the tree up, got the lights up.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing.
And Pat's telling us what she's doing. I mean, we haven't got over to you yet, right? So
Conversation. No, it's fine. That's all. I don't have anything else to say. Just that I'm happy to come to archaeology once a week, and I will try my best to be here by 7:15, no later.
yeah, well that's good. Well done, you, Pat. You need a pat on the back for
I'll
that one.
try.
Yeah.
I'll try. I'll try.
Yeah. Cool. Have you noticed my hair's getting worse and worse as this evening goes by?
It
Right.
is. It is. It's all over the place.
You know, it's it.
Really? No.
Right. So, Richard, anything you want to say?
No, nothing for me.
Do I look like that guy in Flock of Seagulls? I do, don't I?
Oh, no, I don't know. I've never seen them, but I think, yes, it is a bit like that.
Yeah. Basically, what happened? Right. He was just about to go on set, and all his hair was spiked up in the air. Right. And he hit a scaffolding pole, and that was his trademark then.
Here is the wind.
Yeah, it was the wind, right? Okay, Anne. Anything you want to tell us?
No, that's just no. Well, no, I think everyone's very busy at the moment, and can't think what the hell's going on. But it's suddenly Christmas, isn't it? And you gotta get things done, and I haven't. I'm doing things, but I haven't had any archaeology this week.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Well, my daughter's got a new job. She's the manager of Oh no, I can't tell it online.
Look, if she's the manager of a brothel in Bridgend, it's fine. Just speak it out.
No.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. How do they know? Right, as long as you don't mention your daughter's name, nobody's going to know it's your daughter. So where's she bloody managing then?
The China Museum in Nantgarrow.
That's fair enough.
It's because they're doing.
Oh, Christ, I've just realised what you've done there, right? If she's the manager, right, and there's only one manager, right?
Not manager.
You, oh, look,
No, they haven't got a manager. They've never had a manager. But she's there.
oh, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. Just don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Christ, oh,
But it's the first time she's, managed to get back to museum work again.
yeah, yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah, all right. Go on.
Yeah, that's good, right? So, right, let's do some carved heads, right? Oh, do you know what, right? Yeah, and as I said, if we do 7:15 from the new year, right, and the new year, the first class in the new year is, I do believe, the 8th of January.
Yes, it is. Because I know the 7th is a Monday.
I'm glad you agree with that, and I really appreciate you backing me up on that one. I am.
Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah.
Wednesday. On the 8th. No?
Yes. Right, okay, it's all good. It's all good. Right, let's just look at some images. It's fine.
Mm.
We're gonna share. There's nothing wrong with sharing and caring.
Yeah.
Do you know, I always go through the the last numbers of the people that were in the Bridgend class, right? And incredibly, the last but one class before the everything went to pot that time, there was 14 people in the room.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, there was that young lad, right, that everyone forgets. There was that woman that was just about starting. There was Rosalind, right? There was that guy from Wick. There was also Henry from Wick. That's 5 people, right?
Oh.
There was Bill. There was Glenda. There was me. There was Dorothy. There was Pat. There was Anne, right? And I'm sure I'm missing 2 out there, but there was 14 people in the room.
Well, Owen.
Well, and Owen, I forgot Owen, and then that's 13.
The beardy bloke, the writer, the author.
Oh yeah, that's the other guy from Wick. Anyway, there was 14 of us.
Wick, he's from Aberkenfig.
Oh well, there's that then. There's 14 people.
Yeah. Well, it's just, well, they always say the going's good, Bow out when things are going well.
Anyway, so many
Remember what a good class it was.
Exactly. And I always remember turning up the following week and saying that we were going to have this lockdown because I had this 2-week advanced warning. And Glenda turned around and said, I'm a liar.
Oh.
She
Funny mood that day.
Funny mood? Why? She just didn't believe me.
No.
Anyway, so many, right, let's go to this, right? Many carved stone heads have been found in Britain, mostly in the north and west of the country. Well, and Ireland, right? And actually, that statement isn't completely correct because we got a few in Wiltshire, and we got a few over on the east of the side of the country. But a great number of them originate from the religious practices of the native Iron Age people living in Britain both before and during the Roman occupation of the first 4 centuries. They're essentially cult objects. There's so much of that I agree with. There's so much of it that I disagree with. But right, when lots of the writers are writing about these things, they refer to them as Celtic heads, right? However, but one of the writers at the end is on my wavelength that actually says, you know, these heads are to be found in loads of different places on the planet, so you can't call them Celtic heads either, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I was amazed by today, right? Michelle was talking about why don't we go to a castle for my birthday, right? And
Yeah.
and we were reading up about one of the castles, and for the first time, it said, this is written by Eryri National Park, Snowdonia National Park, that that this castle was built by the King of Gwynedd. Bingo. So people are now starting to call the old leaders of Wales kings rather than princes. Anyway, so there we go. You know, it's good to be right eventually.
Yeah. Well, you probably indoctrinated everybody now.
Yeah, I think I have. I think I have. I think I have. I think I have.
It is good, yeah.
Thanks, Anne. I'm glad I got your support on all levels. I really appreciate that. Right, okay. So, Iron Age carved heads, and the one thing about this carved head, it actually comes from Wiltshire. Alongside, let's have a look at this one. Look at that one there.
Oh,
They look completely different, but again, lots of carved heads do, right? And these let's have a little look what they say about these carved heads. Oh, and by the way, Anne, your boyfriend's online, the dodgy git. He's saying hello.
hello.
Yeah, the dodgy git says good evening to you, Anne, personally. That's the only reason he signs on. Apparently, dodgy git is saying we should just have the Anne show each week. So around Europe, what are commonly referred to as stone heads are frequently found, and they're frequently referred to as Celtic heads, but we've already explained the anomaly there. The word Celtic, as we know, refers to an artistic form, but these are not artistically formed Celtic heads. Oh, by the way, Dodgy Git says hello and big kisses. He wants to meet you.
It's not Di, is it?
No, it's the Dodgy Git. He's the Dodgy Git. He wants your phone number, Anne, if you want me to hand it over to him one day. Right. Anyway, stone heads are effectively stone carvings of heads. Oh, Anne's just disappeared, folks. Oh my God. Pat, she's disappeared.
She's there. I can hear her.
Oh,
She's not, you can't hear her anymore? Oh.
oh, she can't hear us anymore. Oh, this is a nightmare. I can't handle this. Oh my God. I'm so pleased Michelle's not here. You'd be driving her up the wall. Hmm. I've got to phone Anne again. Phone in Anne again. God. Anne? Anne,
Yeah.
are you there again?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, hang on a minute. Anne, the dodgy git says, right, tell her to open YouTube so they can actually see what the fuck is going on.
Oh, YouTube.
Yeah, because this is going out live on YouTube.
Oh, right. That's what it is. It's
And just stay there, right? Just stay there, right? It's fine.
all right.
Right, just try not to say anything for 3 hours, and that's fine.
All
Right.
right.
Okay. Anyway, by the way, the dodgy got really upset then that you disappeared. Anyway,
Good. Oh, good. Oh, good.
No, it's not. He got really upset that you disappeared
Oh, dear.
because he lusts after you.
Oh, I'm going to have to. I won't be able to come anymore. My
Anyway,
husband, my husband will be getting annoyed.
oh, and there's nothing wrong with a bit of competition. Anyway, and listen to this, right? Stone heads are effectively um just the heads. There's no bust. There's no other bit of the body. They're just the head, the bit of the head, right? Some are very realistic, and some are some are not.
No.
Exactly. I'm just about to say that. Um, they're thought to be, as some people believe, um, some people believe that these heads themselves are effectively carvings of real heads of people who've been decapitated, or people that are your loved ones, and that what they've done is they basically done some kind of replica, right, in place of the head, right? They may not look like the person's head, but they're something, right?
Yeah.
So these have been collected. These carvings of heads, you can think about civilizations in Central America. You think about various other civilizations in Africa and so on, where you've got stone carved heads or stone carved something that represents the head. The carving of the stone head, for example, as that one, also in the Devises Museum, um, could be used in the home. Could be we there's lots of reasons why we find these in the Iron Age, and they're also found before that period as well. By the way, it's also the guy Dodgy Git Online says, and you cannot leave my classes because he will get really upset if you do,
All right.
and he'll stop.
I've been nothing without you, Carl.
Yeah, well, we know that. Shh, don't say any more. Don't say any more. Right. Anyway, heads were revered in the Iron Age and were deemed much more valuable and precious than any other part of the body. Now, last night I mentioned that when you go to places like Cyprus or Greece, you can go in the local shop and you can get a wax effigy of any part of the body, right?
Oh.
And Pat will be interested to hear you can get a candle version of a penis, as as well as a candle version of the head. And the way this is, candle versions of arms, candle versions of backsides, candle versions of feet, breasts, all sorts of things, right? It's a bit weird, to be honest with you. And basically, and the reason why you have these things that are being sold is that you burn them and they deal with ailments on those parts of the body. Now, why have we got these heads in the Iron Age? That's the question. Why have we got these heads over 2,000 years ago? There is an answer that is quite simple, and the head itself, if you think about in Hare Krishna, or you think about the Hindu law of the Mahabharata, and you think about when you go into Rajic yoga, for example, you think about the chakras, right? And the head, the chakra on the head, the one in the middle eye, as it were, the third eye, right? In likewise in the Iron Age, this is meant, your head is meant to be the seat of the soul. You contain the head, you keep the head of people that you've defeated or people that you love. You keep their head, right? The head is kept as a way of keeping evil and good fortune in the head with you, the seat of the soul, if you can understand that, right? Can I tell you a little bit of a story, right? And this is so bizarre, right? years ago, can you remember James, Anne?
James.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyway.
James.
Yeah, thin James. Yeah, anyway, James, right? Me and James used to go down to Glastonbury a lot in the like 1990s with a girl called Emma, right? And where he went into a shop with me one day, right? And the guy in the shop, he said, "Do you want to buy a bogey stone?" Right? Uh, and a bogey stone is basically a pebble that you fit in your hand, right? Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. A bogey stone is something that you can fit in your hand, right? And it looks like a head, but it's not carved, right?
Right.
And they were 40 quid each, and this was in the night. This was 1990. This was 1994, right? So the guy convinced him that if you got a male and a female bogey stone, right, you could put them on your shelf and they would talk to each other and move. So he gave this guy 80 quid for these two stones, right? And all they were stones, right?
Yeah.
And these were known as bogey stones. So the point is, anything, if you think about that, anything round and not necessarily carved could, in essence, represent everything that we're saying. Yeah? Are you with me, Anne?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Nobody else is, but I'm glad you are. Right.
Well,
I'm glad this is the last lecture of the year. I really am. Anyway, it is.
admin spice for me. Oh, we use admin spice. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, Golf's away, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, hang on a minute. Hang on. There is one problem, right? We're doing this online. We can't really have.
No, I know. I know.
Good. Yeah.
I can only see your name. Am I supposed to be seeing anything else?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Pat, are you seeing these heads?
I'm seeing heads, but I'm not seeing you.
No, don't worry about that. Fine. Don't overcomplicate it, Pat. It's fine. You don't need to see it at all. Okay, it's all right. Yeah. So anyway, back to these two stones, these bogey stones, right? Anyway, back to these heads, right? They the seat of the soul, right? Whether they represent evil, good fortune, right? There's a relationship between the stone and the carver, or the carving and the stone, or a gift as one of these. You know, carving of a stone head explains perhaps that why these things are really, really powerful, right? The carved head. There's hundreds of these being found. In fact, when they found in one place in Ireland, which we'll talk to at the end, they found so many of these stone heads in the 1850s that the children went around chucking them at each other. And these were Iron Age carved heads, right? There was loads of them about at one stage. So anyway, and they occasionally got for auction for about 2,500, 3,000 quid.
Oh,
So
wow.
so Iron Age stone heads usually have a set form of features, right? So so what we're going to do, we'll move away from there he is. So this is the one from Wales, by the way. So Iron Age stoneheads. So they've usually got a flat face and nose. There you go, on a rugby player's nose, and they're close set. Okay, heavy lid, close set eyes, heavy lidded. Right. We'll look at another one now. You can see the heavy lidded there, right? Close set eyes, heavy. This is an example from Ireland, for example. And lentoid eyes, right? Lentoid, like alien looking eyelids. The hands are nothing to do with aliens. Abstract features, sometimes a lack of facial expressions, right? And that's another angle of this one, right? Lack of facial expressions. Well, it depends what you're talking about. An elongated head and slit mouths. Their simplified faces have often been thought to evoke the stern and brooding presence of an otherworld being. So in other words, an otherworld being. So Dodgy Get Online, he's basically saying, these things can be used to chuck at other people. Well, the children were certainly doing it with these Iron Age objects in the late 1950s. Anyway, not 1950s, 1850s. So one of the great experts, particularly of the ones in Ireland, that's one of the ones in Ireland, is a chap by the name of Dr. Barry Rafferty. So he's the expert in Ireland, right? He's no longer with us. And he basically said of these heads, right? And he referred to the word as Celts, particularly about the Trobolagan stone head. He basically said that these heads themselves could, in fact, represent those heads that headhunters had once collected in the past. And instead of keeping the actual heads of the heads that you've hunted, right, you carve one instead. But however, there's a problem with that. It's also believed that when your loved ones died, you would cut their head off and you keep the head with you as well. So it's not just about headhunting those that you don't like or your enemy. It's cutting somebody's head off of somebody that you actually like.
Yeah, like John the Baptist.
Or also think about this, Gordon of Khartoum.
Oh, did you ever say that?
Yes, he did. Yes. The fuzzy wuzzies, right? Basically, the fuzzy wuzzies, because that's what yeah, there you go. Yeah, what's his name out of Dad's Army?
Oh,
Clive Dunn, but no, what was his name? You know the one. Anyway, he called them fuzzy wuzzies, right? Anyway,
yes, he did, yes.
yeah. Well, basically, when the fuzzy wuzzies cut the head off of Gordon of Khartoum, right? It was seen to embolden the power of Gordon of Khartoum, and he shouldn't have cut his head off in the first place.
Oh.
So by the head has power, but if you cut it off, it's got more power than actually the body. So anyway, going back to this. So so they're not necessarily headhunters of severed representative of headhunting of severed heads of the enemy, right? They could actually be heads collected in a battle of ones that were actually fighting alongside you, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why you're collecting heads on a battlefield is because they contain a lot of power and energy, right? Whether you feel that they're positive or negative, they contain a lot of power and energy, right? So in the medieval world, for example, it's a different concept. In the medieval world, where the head of King David of North Wales was cut off at Shrewsbury, right? On the 31st of October, may I add, and Shrewsbury, in the year 1283, right? In the medieval world, cutting somebody's head off is almost is very different from what the Iron Age people thought. Basically, you cut their head off and you put it on a spike, right?
Yeah.
A tower bridge in London to warn people not to do this again, right? And there's the full link, right? Oliver Cromwell's son, Richard Cromwell, also had his head cut off, and Oliver Cromwell's head was dug out of the ground, and his head was also put on a spike.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oliver Cromwell wasn't executed.
No, he died, but he still had his body dug up, and his head was put on a spike.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oliver?
yeah. His body was dug up, and his head was put on a spike.
Oh, right. So it should be.
No. I don't think you should like what they did with the old leader, the previous old leader of who died in 2000, Assad's dad, right?
Yeah.
They dug his body out of the coffin and they dragged his body through the streets. I think that's terrible. Whatever you think of someone, right? The thing is, Iron Age people felt about bodies differently. They felt that a body is power, right? It needs to be buried.
It's
What?
a cult. The cult of the head.
Yeah, exactly. See, Anne, you know what you're talking about.
But I can't remember. It was, yeah, it was a cult, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It had magical, yeah, it had magical powers.
Exactly. And then you know it. You know it. Yeah. Right. Anyway, so the concept of the head containing the soul stemmed from this practice as the peoples of northwestern Europe in the Iron Age, right, were collecting trophy heads and also carving trophy heads, right? And they believed that if the head remained with us, so did the person through their soul, right? And if you notice, that person had a smile on them, but the smile's been eroded away. There you go, smile. Got it? There, see the smile?
I can't see anything. I can only see your name
Oh, for God's sake.
and three little, well, and I can only see Richard. Little Richard at the top there. With
I don't know what's going on with this tonight.
I know.
This is a freaking nightmare.
All I know is that my computer is, I got to take it to be looked at.
Yeah. We've been saying about you for years. Anyway, so back to this whole head thing, right? So we're thinking about Iron Age. People worship their many gods and goddesses. And there was also a worship of Lloyd George statues as well, through practices such as sacrifice. And it is thought that to collect heads was an interpretation of this. So the more stone heads you've got, the better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's not just us, you know. I did see some stone heads in, well, you know, obviously Borneo. Borneo used to get off heads as well.
Hang on, you haven't been to bloody Borneo, have you?
No, but it's my daughter has, but she said they're not cutting off heads now, but you know, they used to.
Yeah, that's why. The head has got power.
Those little islands, you know.
And shrunken heads as well. The idea of the shrunken head.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's some pictures on Facebook a while back around Halloween, and they were all kind of, I think they weren't shrunken heads or anything. They were just painted, you know, painted.
The image of the head, and also, right, in Islam, right, you are not to show the head on any paintings.
Oh, right.
Because they
don't like any sort of figurative stuff at all.
No, exactly. So actually having a head, an image of somebody, right, in Islam, for example, was sent to embolden the power of the individual looking at you, right? So anyway, Iron Age. So we look at this, and you can also believe that the head of the fallen foe would be beneficial to the taker of their head, or as a thanks to the gods and goddesses for bringing prosperity and a good harvest to their family and land. So if you're keeping a head with you, whoever the head is, right, you're emboldened in the embodiment of the power of that head, whoever it is. And obviously, this is why we've got carvings like this. So, Anne, what did you say earlier on? The actual existence of the so-called Iron Age head cult is, however, debatable.
Oh.
Because there might be so many different interpretations of this. Are the heads a sense of reverence? Are they a sense of symbolism? Are they a sense of a favor placed upon the head motif by these people, whether they're Celtic, whether mainland Britain, or whatever? At the very least, a certain spiritual belief and respect was required if one managed to find themselves in possession of a human head. So naturally, if you're in possession of a human head, you've got true power indeed. But when you so having a carved head is a lot easier than having a head, an actual real head, and preserving it using conifer resin. Embalming heads is far better. And even that would rot away. So a stone carving would be the best thing to have. You know, these stone carved heads. So and obviously this is a sense of longevity to have something carved in stone in the afterlife. Some argue were they actually representing real people's heads or not. Some have ears, some don't. In France, the heads were believed to have been displayed at the front of the victor's house as trophies to increase their status and power and to frighten their enemies. Apart from we're gonna okay, if we go on to this, apart from possessing a large amount of what could almost be described as a backstory, the Iron Age stone heads are really, you could say, fun. They comprise, and because you can learn a lot from them, they comprise a wealth of historical fact for someone to discover the blood and guts and gore everyone pretends to hate, and a bit, and what you know, some of these barely have a smile. Some actually do have a smile. You know, for example, they. Oh, look at that smile there. He's really happy. You know. So we're looking at these. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at the Welsh example. We might actually take a break in a moment. Whether that's a good idea. Anyway, so let's go on to. I want us to, this is the one that's actually been found at Caerwent, right? This.
I can't see it.
Yeah, but Pat can.
I know that's because you.
Right. Okay then, Richard. Can you see if there's anything that I'm doing? Right. Hang on a minute. Let's go back to the screen a minute.
No, I can see you now. And that's what I was seeing before, just you.
Yeah, but now you can see the bloody thing.
No, Pat can't. She's just looking at you.
Yeah, can you see this now?
Now I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but why can't you see it before?
I don't know. It must be something to do with my audio.
Oh, for God's sake.
It must be. Oh, God.
Oh, please help me. Please, deliver me. Give me deliverance.
Deliverance.
Oh, yeah, that film Deliverance is a bit weird, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't see it, but it is weird, yeah. Oh, God. Got what it's about now.
Somehow I don't think we want to know. It's
No.
it's about weird sexual practices, from what I can understand.
Oh.
Right. Anyway, so this head itself, you can see this wonderful head here. This head itself was found during an excavation at Caerwent.
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree with that, Anne. This is so.
Museum.
Yeah. I don't labour the point, love. Just please don't labour it. Right, good. Obviously, there's a different colour in that one because it's a shade. But if you look at this one there you go.
And there's Easter Island, those big heads. I mean, different, but heads. It's sort of similar. Because they're simple. But of course, these heads were first.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. So you think carving these big Moa statues on Easter Island is simple?
No, but it's simple shapes, simple faces,
Yeah, simple.
Like this,
Simple bloody minds, more like. Anyway, The head was made of yellow quartz sandstone and was carved in a simple native Iron Age style. It was found in a shrine discovered in the garden area of a house, which was up and flowing around AD 300, right? And the weird thing is about this stone head, right? And it's actually quite, really nice carving. And the thing is, right, you could think about this, right, as being part of that new stylistic art forms around Art Nouveau and Art Deco and the revivalist art forms of the 1920s and 30s, and you could just chuck that in there, right? And this head, however, was very old, was probably about 400 years old when the people were actually using this as a deity. They thought it was to do with a little shrine in the back garden of a Roman dwelling house in Caerwent. It was never actually attached to a torso, right? But what? Shh.
No.
Yeah, good. But what we do find is these heads are to be found running all the way from Hungary, right? All the way into France, all the way to Scotland, all the way through to Ireland, and Frappa Nui in Ireland, good place. Possibly the human head represented the seat of mankind's magical energy, right? So that's where it all is. Oh my God, and we've got Meg who's just joined us online, who's from America. We haven't had Meg joining us online for ages, right? Anne, you've got to say hello, Meg. Go on. Hiya, Meg. Who's basically saying, right? And Meg used to be one of our members on here, but it's good to have her back. Meg says it could be an apprentice piece, right? But the way this is, I know it's slightly different. The way it's the way it sort of looks. It's like it's like the man in the moon type thing, But again, thinking about these, and by the way, Meg says personally hello to Anne and everybody else. Possibly the human head, again, that magical energy, right? Mankind's magical energy. Stoneheads similar to this one have survived in large numbers, especially in the upland regions of northern England. 5 have been found in Upper Boat, the Pennines, the Peak District, Cumbria, various other places, right? Upper Boat is famous for these things being found, right? Upper Boat, yeah. Such stone heads were probably placed in religious shrines or grottos and were possibly associated with springs. Not springs on the bed, Anne. Water springs. Wellheads. Yeah. Natural landmarks, which became features of ritual veneration. But then again, we're assuming all of this, Anne. How much of this is actually true is very difficult to actually say. Right? It's very, very difficult to say. Now, in my notes, it says this is crudely carved from local sandstone. I don't bloody think it's crudely carved at all. I don't think it is. Yeah, but it's not crudely carved at all, is it? It's actually quite.
The eyes are really good.
Yeah, they are really good, right? But Anne, shh, be quiet a minute. So I'll go with the flow. Yeah, love it, love the flow. Crudely carved from local limestone. And being found in the Roman city of Caerwent, right? The Romans founded Caerwent. There was nothing at Caerwent before the Romans founded it, right? So this would have had to have been brought to the site by a local Joe Bloggs. And the face, as you can tell, is asymmetrical. However, have you noticed that the left eye is a little bit more shallower than the right?
Yeah.
And and I'm glad you agree. This is a phenomenon, right? Noted in Bronze Age and Iron Age wooden figures, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the right eye that's dominant.
And I was just about to say this: the right eye, dextera dominant, right? And the left, right, sinistram, which is weaker, right? So the left side is the evil part of the body and the unlucky side, right? And the right side is the positive part, right? And the right side is the dexterous part, the skillful part of the body. So you're gonna be seeing the left hand side as as weak, right? Basically, as Meg is saying, it's got a low forehead, but naturally a rugby player's nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad you agree, Anne. Yeah.
Like rugby.
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what? I've seen people who've looked like this.
Yeah.
Ugly brutes that hang around the valleys who play football in Swansea for the Scarlets, but that's something else. Mind you, Anne, you know that rugby player Joshua Navidi, friend of Hetty. He looks gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not ugly.
No, he's a really not. He's a really attractive looking lad.
Yeah. That's because he had to, this is what happens. The genes, the genes have to be integrated.
What Levi's?
Mhm.
You said jeans, Levi's.
Yes.
So similar heads have been discovered in Gaul, right? Mainly on the sites of native temples. And I'm going to say for everybody online, guys, everybody online, don't forget to join and send over a donation if you can afford it. Because I've got no money at this time of year. I'm really poor. So similar heads like this have actually been found in Gaul, and some of them actually found mainly on the sites of native temples as offerings to local deities to perhaps cure illnesses in the parts portrayed. So, in other words, if there's a slight damage with the head, right, i.e., the left eye, that the person may have had an eye infection or something, and you carve the head and you try and cure that eye by having this carved, right?
Oh.
Yeah, there's these actually represent something really powerful. Often they may have been placed into niches, for example, and the back of the head lacks any detail at all. No hair, no stife maker's mark, nothing like that. It's fine. There's nothing on the back, and so it would make sense if it was only intended to be seen from the front. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm.
Glad you agree, Anne. Right. And finally on this bit, right, before we have a little break, because we will have a little bit of a break, because I need some extra arsenic in my tea. Right. Um, here we go. Now this, Anne, I said earlier on about using the word Celtic was problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Anne, if you ever want to send me any money over, because you never send me anything over at all, it's really terrible. You can send me you can send a donation to buy me a coffee.
Oh, you mean, buy me a coffee. Did you see that in America? They don't have it here, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's a great.
I have people sending me donations to buy me a coffee. It's buymeacoffee.com, Carl J. Langford at the end.
So you don't actually buy anyone a coffee?
No. Somebody said maybe it's a hat stand. Anyway, so the term Celtic is describing the stone head is problematic, and the term is associated with Iron Age peoples from Britain and Europe who used similar languages and a cultural and stylistic similarity in their art. Such peoples covered a vast amount of geography and time. So in other words, what we're saying, you find these things in loads of different parts of the world, so they can't be classed as Celtic because they're seen in lots of societies. In the Bronze Age as well, there's no such thing as Celticism in the Bronze Age, right? So the head was important in their art wherever they were. And when we think about civilizations in North America, like the Olmecs, the Zapotecs, and so on, you've got the idea of the spherical, yeah, and the head.
It might be better to use the term, indigenous.
Yes. Indigenous, exactly. Indigenous. You mentioned the Easter Island heads earlier on, but obviously they're on huge Moa statues. However, a modern viewpoint to the head as being important for many cultures as well as so-called Celtic cultures, and heads remain significant for many worldwide experiences, right? And one thing I did last night, right? We went on to Google and we looked up the Bont Dol Gadvan, right? Human mask. And you got to shout out straight away what you think this looks like, right? Um, if you see any nude images of Kylie Minogue on you, it's because somebody's been using my computer. What?
You had to think about her.
I still got a thing about her.
All right.
The reason why I'm with Michelle is because she looks a bit like Kylie Minogue.
All right. Okay.
She does. She's short.
Yeah.
She's got a bad temper. She looks like Kylie Minogue. Right. Okay. Right. Look at this, Anne. Look at that.
Oh.
Look at that. Look at that one there.
Looks like the moon.
It looks like the man in the moon. Yeah. You see? See what we did there? So anyway, so what we've got is this is an example from Bont Dal Gadvan in Montgomeryshire, and it's formed out of a circular pebble.
Gosh, I never knew there was all this stuff.
Yeah, and this is like a human mask, right? So in other words, even though this isn't a pure Celtic form, you can basically see that sort of alien looking thing there, right? And that is that's a trapezoidal zinc alloy plaque, right? Which is Iron Age. And this here, or not that, that there is also another little bit of a figure. This is a cold pillar with a human mask, which is actually 600 millimeters. It's a really small things, these, right? But you can get an idea that the head, the portrayal of the head is actually really important to what we're seeing today, you know. So what we are going to do now, we're going to take a break, a very short break. We'll take a 10-minute break because I actually want to be finished at 9, but that's not going to happen, right? So we'll have a 10-minute break. I'm going to have some extra arsenic, an extra diazepam and co-coldamol, and I'll be fine. I should be all right after that.
What do I do with this? Leave it on. Leave my phone on.
Yeah, but you know, I gotta be able to talk to myself in peace, right, for 10 minutes, right? So I'll
Turn it off then.
I'll phone you back in 10 minutes, Anne, and we'll be back at 8:58. All right, okay. Right, okay. So we'll be back. I tell you what, right? Anne can hear us now, Pat. I tell you what, my head is pulverized now.
I bet.
It's completely pulverized. Right, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put the kettle on.
Okay, me too.
Yeah. Anne, can you hear me? Nope. Fucking hell. It's a very shocking. Oh God, I can't remember this. La 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 la. Oh my God. Are you there, Dickie? Are you there, Pat?
I'm here.
All right, let's just phone Anne and crack on. It's ringing. It's ringing. It's ringing. We're going to crack on. Hello. Right, wait. We're going to crack on. We're going to crack. What?
Are you in a bunk?
Why
Are
am
you in a bunk?
Why am I in a bunk?
I thought you were up,
No,
lying down.
no, I'm sat in a chair. Yeah, she's probably finishing off a roast dinner or something.
I'm here.
So do you have two Christmas dinners then, Pat?
Well, sort of.
Yeah.
First day, my son fixes a Christmas dinner, and I bring beef and ham, and he does a turkey, and we have 7 of it. And then the next day, the rest of the family comes. We have 11
Yeah.
of it, and it's just all leftovers. I put it in one big table, and then we go to another big table and sit down. So
Oh, right. That sounds cool. Well, me and Richard will be over there as well. So that'll be 13 of us.
I've got enough chairs. We only got 11 chairs. I think we got 12 or 13. Yeah, we're all right.
Oh, yeah. Just me, chuck me and Richard in the corner with some vegetarian stuff. I'll be all right.
Vegetarian, no vegetarian.
All right. Okay. Anyway, so oh, you don't have any vegetarians in your family?
No, she tried it. Rian did for a few years, but that was it. She missed her bacon.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've got a cousin who's a vegetarian. Well, she was vegan, but she's vegetarian now.
Mm,
But she's been vegetarian for about 30 years.
yeah, my friend has about
So,
40 years, I think. And she runs
40 years.
40
Christ.
years. Yeah, she's 77. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's crack on with the next bit. A face from the past, the Iron Age, right? So that's obviously there it is. It's actually quite a small face when you look at it, right?
Yeah.
It's quite a small face. So this is from Ireland. This is known as the Double Again face Stonehead. Stop it, urge you, sir. Um, and the entry when this was originally found, right? The entry of this is actually the original entry in the National Museum of Ireland in Dublin. Basically said in 1971, entry 904, a stone head carved on a split pebble. Basically, a pebble has been cut in half. Roughly trapezoidal in shape. The uncarved surface on the reverse is somewhat concave, though irregular, and the carved surface, as you can see, is convex as it's broadcasting to us. The nose is almost in relief there. and the long sides are faceted. Both the eyes are carved in false relief. So in other words, if you look, um, they're not protruding from the face. They look like they are, right, but they're not. They're in fact flat relief. In other words, and you can clearly see the upper and lower lids as well, indicating and clearly um, broadcasting the eye. And the nose is in relief. It's a big rugby nose, mind you. It's probably a very realistic nose because I've got a big nose like that. Um, is relatively long and relatively broad, although somewhat irregular. Both nostrils, there you go. You can clearly look up the nostrils as well. Both nostrils are clearly indicated, and the lips in very low relief are pursed, right? And somebody basically said that that looks like a cleft lip problem, right? Now the point is, a point was made yesterday, right? And I think this is a really, really important point, right? When some of the people are talking about these carvings as being crude, I disagree, right? This isn't crude, right? They had the opportunity to carve things that were probably very accurate, and they decided to carve them in this way. Maybe they were not meant to be exact replicas of individuals. Maybe they're just off topic. Maybe they could be female or male, right? But the fact of the matter is,
my granny.
fucking hell, really?
She had a very small mouth and a long face. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you get it from, man. And the object, a small, curious representation of a human face. It's thought to date, as we do believe, from the Iron Age. As we've already said, stone carvings prove a difficult artifact to type to date with absolute certainty, and their identifications are usually gained from research and comparison of known confirmed examples that we see all the way across Europe. Now, looking at this further, stone sculptures from the Iron Age period are generally represented to be sculptures like this or an animal form, and iconographically, they are actually they are seen to look like people's faces, right? And you can imagine if these were found by Protestants in Ireland, they would think, oh my God, the iconography, that's like a Catholic thing, right? And you wouldn't get anything like this in Islamic culture either. However, these head carvings often share a number of characteristics similar. They've got the sense of those oval eyes, sometimes the longitudinal faces, but some, as we've already seen, right, was rounded, right? But we've obviously got a slit mouth and broad, long noses. They might be simpler. They might be simplified forms of carvings of individuals and on stone of people from the past, or they might represent godhead figures that we might never meet. However, thinking again about this, again the words by our Irish friend Dr. Rafferty have said the stern and brooding presence of an other world being. Which could mean lots of things and so on to many different people. We mentioned about this idea of the head culture, and we've mentioned that not only do these show what people felt and thought, they were also demonstrations of their craftsmanship and physical practices and art of a period that was still trying to get to grips with and still trying to understand. Assuming and unassuming that they're Celtic, these could be seen as to be the seat, the powerhead of the soul, symbolic of a world long lost. When we think about classical writings of the Celtic European world, rather than the British world, the native indigenous world, there was a talk of lots of decapitations. But then again, decapitation has happened for quite some time. And when we look at the terror in Paris, from the 1792 onwards, we see lots of people be decapitated. So it's not something that is unknown to human society. And again, people think that these are to do with ritualistic practices and sacrificial practices. But whether or not they're part of a cult of the head or the cult of the dead, this is enticing us to understand that this world is extremely artistically expressionate. And when we analyze these objects, we analyze the typology of these things. They analyze that they're a portable object made of a pebble, and some are quite small. This isn't a huge object. This is quite a small object. And you can tell that from the scale there. That's 5 centimeters there. So they're not wide, these things at all. And then again, when you're studying these things, you start to think that it's part of a world that then these objects then can be adopted by other civilizations, like the Christian world, where representations of the Christ, representations of individuals, and the heads are to be seen. And this wasn't actually found anywhere near a shrine or anywhere near a temple. This was actually found deposited in a bank of an Iron Age ring fort, which was slowly heading into the period of early Christianity in Ireland. So the next figure that we want to look at is this one. And you can see that's the angle there. This is the same image, but from a different angle, right? And if we go to look at that there, very odd.
Aliens.
They do. It does look very odd indeed. It really, really does. This is known as the Karlak head. And this was actually dating. This is one of more later ones. This is dating from roughly around 100 years after the birth of Jesus Christ. And there's actually 3 sides to this. There's 3 faces on this stone. You can actually just see the head of there. There are, that's another side there. Because of the angle you're looking at it, right, or the one on the right, that's actually part of the same stone, right? But there are 3 sides to this. You can just about see from that angle that there's a nose there. From this angle, you can't really see, but there's 3 faces to this. There are 3 faces, and there you go. It's got a small hole at the centerpiece of the mouth, which we don't really understand what that is. Known as the Karlak head. So Karlak, C. Karlak, Corleck. This was found in County Cavan, which is Karlak Hill, County Cavan. And whether this is iconographical, whether this is to do with any of the things we've mentioned, this head is clearly, rather than elongated, that the one on the right it looks elongated because the angle it's actually taken. So if we go back to there, you can see this is sort of carved out of one sort of large block type pebble of limestone, and 3 relatively simple faces with protruding eyes, right, or looking like it's protruding eyes, a narrow mouth, a big nose, enigmatic expressions, but they're very difficult to date. But the faces themselves because there's 3 angles, that there's 3 heads, might represent the all-seeing gods. And it's interesting the way this was actually found, actually. And this is very odd. The Karlak head was unearthed on the 14th of October in the year 1855 by a local farmer known as James Longmore while looking for stones to build a farmhouse. While the exact find is unknown, it was found within a passage grave dating back 2,500 years BC. So the passage grave predated this carving of the head by over 2,700 years. So this was placed into a passage grave that was 2,700 years older than the carving of this head. So in other words, it being placed in there. The head was uncovered alongside other heads known as the Correhe heads, also carved heads. And interesting enough, with the Correhe heads, there's a sculpture of a ram's head on the one side and a human head on the other side, which we might, as a little treat, go on to Google at the end and maybe look at the Correhe heads anyway. Now, interesting enough, this head itself, although it was found in the year 1855, it was used as a centerpiece on a gatepost in up until 1865, where somebody actually realized that this was actually quite important, right? People didn't think these things were important because somebody who was interviewed in 1865 when this was finally declared as an object, right, said that there were loads of these found, possibly all coming from the passage grave, and the children would use them to throw it at each other. You can only do that in Ireland, really, throw stone heads at, yeah. Yeah, it's a typical Irish thing to do, isn't it? So
It reminds me of the triune God, that's what the Shamrock was all about. The three persons in one, but that they think that
isn't that talking about the Holy Trinity, though?
Yeah, it's the Holy Trinity, but it's like it was like
Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were saying there are three persons in one God. Well, the Protestants didn't like, not the Protestant, someone didn't like that.
Well, actually, Anne, I've actually got a counsellor that's provided because of the film work that I do, and we were talking the other day, and I thought I was saying, well, my mind thinks in the way that you have a voice saying you shouldn't do something, and a voice saying you should do something, and a voice in the middle said don't do either, right? So this is what we're talking about with these types of heads, yeah.
Yeah. That's it. But they say that the idea of the three persons in one God, was taken from the pagan idea of these three, but it could also be your memory, your understanding, and your will. There's three. What they're saying is it's not just two, rational, and yeah, you said it before. It's not do I do this, that, or neither.
Yes.
So it's about consciousness, coming into consciousness that there's also a third way,
Yes,
another way. So it is all very, mixed up, but that's kind of the ideas behind them.
It's a bit like a political thinking where you've got Conservative and Labour, and you've got one in the middle, So there's like that.
The way our mind thinks, it's the way our mind, our head thinks,
Yeah. One second, there's a weird bang in here a minute. Yeah. Anyway, don't worry about it. It's just something really weird. But anyway, I would say one thing. When we're talking about the children throwing these around, do you know how high? Do you know this is 33 centimeters in height? This is the length of a ruler.
Oh, yeah, it's big. Yeah, heavy.
So can you imagine? I don't know how strong these bloody little girls and boys were in this village there, but they apparently there was loads of them, and they were chucking them around.
Oh, wow. Imagining older children.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I wouldn't want one of these landing on my head. Eventually, this was put on display in the National Museum of Ireland in 1937. Right now, when again, it's the Corlech Hill, for example, and the Corlech Hill. Do you know what the Corlech Hill means?
No.
The hill of the three gods.
Oh.
So in other words, they find this. They found the Corlech Hill. They found this in the Corlech Hill, but the actual meaning of the Corlech Hill means the hill of the three gods.
Oh, right. Yes, there's all pretty much there then.
So in other words, even before there's like this three sort of thing, it's that sort of mythology is there, and then they find these heads, right?
Yeah.
Then they find these amazing heads. There's loads there's loads more I could actually say about this, but I'll just mention a little bit more. So obviously we know that these are 30, this one, the Corlock one, is 33 centimeters high, and at the widest point, its width is 22.5 centimeters. So they're not totally round, right? This enigmatic expression, and you know, and it's said that all of these expressions are sort of in different moods, but slightly different. If you look at these, um, and it's sort of saying that the protruding eyes are wide, but closely set open, and it's talking. If you can look at the angle there, this one in particular has a heavy eyebrow arrangement, and obviously we've mentioned that one of them actually has a hole in the center of the mouth, which is unusual, which is actually found in other parts, other places of the world where some of them actually got a tiny little hole in the mouth, right? And also in the base of this as well, there's actually another hole with a dowel you could actually mount this up on a wooden statue. And somebody mentioned last night that 33 centimeters could be the proportion of a human skull,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So as we get to the end here, and what we're going to do, we're going to look at that other example from Ireland as well before we finish. So most of these, iconically surviving objects from the prehistoric world, they're very difficult to date, but when they are found in an archaeological context, they usually date from roughly around 300 years before the birth of Christ and 100 years after the birth of Christ. So that's what we're talking about. So, and obviously Ireland's not being hit by the Roman era invasion, so they can just continue their beliefs. And obviously, the sense of the Holy Trinity and Christianity, these things can fit nicely in with that, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to go onto Google. What we might do is quickly look at the Corlock head a little bit, and then we'll be very close to the end anyway. I wasn't going to go on this late tonight. I wasn't going to go up to 9:30, but we've managed it anyway. So what we're going to do, we're going to quickly go off and before we do that, I wanted to mention this slide for those interested in these carved heads. In stone carvings, there are a number of simple stone heads from Scotland, like that found in Perthshire, Copper Angus. And these are all Iron Age in date. So if you look at that date, Copper Angus, Coupar, Angus, Perthshire, stone carved heads, then that'll give you a little bit more background to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go to here. We're going to show you a little bit more about the Corlock head, and we'll look at the other example that we've mentioned, which is the Corahey heads. And you can get different angles at this, and it's sort of showing different angles of this, and different expressions on there, and sort of. And different when you look at it from a different angle, right? It can look round like that, It's the photographic angle. You can clearly see there that the expressions are slightly different from two of the sides on this one. And again, that when you look at it from that angle, it's a little bit more pensive on the one on the left, and the one on the right is a bit more sort of, given a little bit more thought maybe. So again, have a little look at these online, the Corlock head, and then what we're going to do, we're going to look at the Corahey heads, and then that will be enough. That will be me done for the whole year. Do you know what I've done? You guys, I've done 100 of these this year. But obviously you guys have had about I worked it out earlier on. I think we may have, because of my acting, we may have had one day changed a couple of times, but we've roughly done about 50. So Corahey head. Corahey head. Oh no, we can't. No, hang on. It's the Corlock one. Corahey heads. I don't think we're going to get one.
I thought I Corlock head.
No, that's the carvings and the change.
And the one at the top,
Hang on, they're all cut. Hang on, that one there.
No, hang on, keep going. Oh, no, I thought I saw it come up.
Corlock stone, it says.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
There's three. Yeah, three.
Hang on, what about this one? Yeah. No, that's in Lancashire. They're not coming up at all. Oh, hang on a minute. The head was uncovered alongside. Hang on a minute. What we might do is that if we go with the Corlock head, I do believe there's a link on Wikipedia. So Corlock head. And we're not. It's not coming up for some reason, right? So if we go down, there's something in the Wikipedia a minute. I'm just going to see what we've got. Corlock description. We'll find it in a minute. Discovery. Corahey. There.
Yeah.
Corahey heads. It's the same one. They don't have a new image for it. So, oh yeah, that one there. Remember what it said? There's a ram on the one side. Yeah, that's it.
Ram's head and two. Oh gosh.
Hang on a minute. How the hell are you going to throw these around?
No, this I don't know.
That's got to be style. That's got to be clearly stylized. But anyway, that's probably the best we can do. So that's the Corahey. If you manage to get anything else more than me, then that'll be fine. But that's what they're saying with the Corahey head. And my notes here, it clearly says that he interviewed Emery Bryce, a relative of the Halls, who remembered childhood visits to the farm and throwing stone, having no idea of the age.
All right.
Oh, anyway. So they may be damage to these things. Anyway, so that's that for tonight. Any questions, folks? Richard.
Nothing from me.
I don't think
Very
I got any
interesting.
questions. I think it was a learning curve.
Yeah, it was for me tonight. Right, anything you want to say, Anne, and we'll listen to Richard and Pat.
I mean, I do think they're very significant, and I didn't realise there were so many, local, yeah, that have been found in the, you know, we've talked a lot about, you know, digging holes and things and finding various things, but we haven't done these before.
No,
We haven't done
no, we haven't done these at all. No.
And I think they're quite significant, you know, as a sort of, they kind of, because everywhere in the world, you know, you find them as their own, you know, their own particular characteristics, which probably they're quite like each other, really. You know, it's again, it's the primitive, the sort of, I say primitive, but I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Simple, you know, but straightforward.
And they're trying to show us something exactly. Okay, Anne. Okay, we'll listen to Richard now. Richard, what would you like to say?
Oh, well, that's really interesting subject. I suppose some of them, they look as if they've been a bit weathered.
Yes.
So whether they've been, you know, out in all sort of weathers for years before they've been sort of buried or hidden away, you know.
And that's obviously going to affect their features as well. So that's
Yeah,
not
it's going to make them
that's
look
something.
more sort of naive and
Yes, and they could have been painted and they could have been altered and changed.
yeah,
We don't know. We don't. Yeah, that's something we didn't mention at
yeah.
all. So you are right on that. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that, Richard. That's a really good point on that, but that really is. Okay then. Anything from you, Pat?
Just to say that I found it you know, like an eye opener. I just hadn't even thought about people carving heads or, you know, and carrying them around or do anything. It was I came out of left field, you know. I like to see animals more, I think, I'd rather than heads. But I know.
Yes, we do. We like to. Yes, exactly. Not enough animals in any of this stuff. But I do believe that is an Iron Age thing that we might be coming up with in the future. So
Okay.
Iron, a bit more about Iron Age animals. Yes.
And their pets.
Oh no, we've done the pets. We've done the pets.
Pets, yeah.
We've done the pets. Right. Okay then. I'm gonna say this. Just a reminder. We're back on the hang on, the 8th of January. You'll be sent an email or a text with the link to next week's class on Tuesday. And then the following Tuesday will be the same. Don't forget the monies for the classes next year for the January and February going forward. We've obviously got Peter's funeral tomorrow, which it's at 4 o'clock at the Barry crematorium, and yes, that's me done for the year. So, anyone want to say anything else before we finish?
Well, I want to wish everyone a very happy Christmas. And Carl, hope you have a pleasant time. I don't know who you're going to be with. How many?
Oh,
hope you have a good one anyway.
Anyway, thanks for that, Anne.
All your, you know, your classes and all the work you put in.
Yeah, many thanks for that, and thanks for your support throughout the year, Anne, and thanks for your support as well, Pat, and Richard as well, and those online as well, and yes.
Yes, happy Christmas and happy New Year.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
And happy Jesus Christ's birth, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Quarter to one. What do you think?
And
Quarter to one. And
Oh, well, it'll take about, if you're going to go to Wednesday, so, it probably take about 40 minutes.
yeah, but we're going to go to the garden center.
I don't mind. If you want to come earlier, that's fine. 12:30. Or
Okay.
quarter to one. Depends
Okay.
how hungry you are.
Okay, I'll see you then.
brilliant.
I got to find my clothes. Right.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye
does
then.
help.
Bye.
All right then. I gotta say good night to everybody. So anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you in the new year. Don't forget to watch those recordings. So I'm gonna say good night, Pat, Anne, Richard, and those on YouTube as well. Thank you very much.
Okay,
So
bye-bye.
long, everyone.
Bye.
So long.
No night, everybody. No night. No night. No night. And no night, Anne. I'll end. I'll switch you off on you now. So I'll speak to you. I'll see you tomorrow. No night, Anne.
No, no.
No night. No night. No night. No night. Night. And you got to switch, yeah, off there as well. Yeah. Oh, anyway, folks, don't forget to like and subscribe online. And anyone want to send over any donations would be gratefully appreciated. And anyone would like to join, then that would be great. And just put the buy me a coffee.com link up. Bingo. Right, so that's me done for the year. And yeah, what I'll do is I will do sort of an hour recording next week sometime. So we've got email, yeah, email on class. Recording. So I'm gonna anyway, thanks for that, guys. So I'm gonna call this a day. Oh yeah. I didn't read any of these in the chat box thing. So Anne was saying, my computer is broken. No audio, can't resolve. You know, she'll have to resolve that next time because we won't be able to do that the same way because the others will be back. So that'll be fine. And see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Yeah, we got Peter's funeral tomorrow. And that's 4 p.m. Peter's funeral from the Tuesday class, 4 p.m. And Carl's trying to phone you. Yes, that was Richard. So Carl's trying to phone you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do. Okay, diolch yn fawr chi. Ymorwch hyd. Nos da. Na night.